من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا أما بعد. We're today discussing the story of Musa alayhi salam and the lesson to be learned in this story in many ways about the childhood of Musa alayhi salam and the family dynamic and leadership of Musa alayhi salam. And I want to talk a little bit about the impact of oppressions and living in society when people are being terrorized and family worried about the safety of their children. The nature of tyrants and oppressors. The prototype of oppressor is Pharaoh. Egypt was ruled in two different eras by different rulers. The time of Yusuf alayhi salam was not pharaohs. They call them al-Amaliq, with the different political systems. And matter of fact, the pharaohs' eras came as a result of defeating that ruling class or ruling kingdom, and the pharaoh took over. That's why in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, the ruler called al-Malik, the king. In the story of Musa alayhi salam, called Pharaoh. Historical accuracy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says is not accurate. Therefore, Musa alayhi salam was born in an environment where there's a man ruling Egypt, Pharaoh of Egypt, who declared himself to be God. يا أيها الملأ ما علمت لكم من إله غيري. O people, or the elite of Egypt, there is no God except me. He was so blind with his arrogance, he said, أنا ربكم الأعلى. I'm the Lord the Most High. ولا أريكم إلا ما أرى ولا أهديكم إلا سبيل الرشاد. Only the thing that is good for you is the thing that I think is good for you. And only the path for you of guidance is my path. But Musa alayhi salam was born in this environment. Fir'aun was told that maybe your kingdom, your rulership will end in the hand of one of Bani Israel. So he decided to kill children, male children. يذبح أبناءهم ويستحيي نساءهم. He take life of the children, male children, and allow female children to live. But the mother of Musa alayhi salam was so worried about somebody who would knock her door and snatch her child from her. We call this what? We call it trauma. She was living in the trauma of that somebody can come and knock the door and take her child. Somebody may ask, what happened to Harun alayhi salam? Ulama said when Fir'aun did so much of this, taking care taking many life of children, he decided to do every other year. But they said Harun alayhi salam was born in the year, was amnesty, And Musa alayhi salam was born in the year of aggressions against children. For this, a mother here, and there's something very important about the story of Musa alayhi salam. I want you to bear with me. There's a mentioning of mother in the story of Musa alayhi salam, but there's no mentioning of the father. In the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, the mentioning of father, but not mentioning of the mother. In the story of Musa alayhi salam, there's two things very dominant in the story. We call them symbolism. Do you remember I said that before? What are the things that repeated in the story of Musa alayhi salam? What are the something that been repeated? It could be a human being or something symbolic, could be non-human. That explain the story of Musa alayhi salam. Dominant in the story. What are the things dominant in the story? Women. Who says women? Yes, women. Women in all over the story. The second? Waters. Water. Women, the mother, and the second woman. What? Asiya, foster mother. And the third? His wife. The fourth? His sister. 4 women. And actually, if we talk about the women, there's 2 of them, but one of them become his wife, the daughter of Shu'aib, alayhi salam. What other symbols in the story of Musa alayhi salam? Repeated, something repeated. Water. The water where Musa alayhi salam was what? Put in the river. The water was the second water. Huh? Yes, the opening of the sea. What? It springs. When people asked for water and he hit the stones and 12 springs. What else? The well, the water where he met his wife. Water, water, water. Women and water are the symbols of the story of Musa alayhi salam. Let's dive into the story. First, I want to talk about motherhood. In the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, we talk about fatherhood. The story of Musa alayhi salam, we talk about motherhood. As well the story of Isa alayhi salam. Motherhood is very intense relationship when it comes to love, commitment, defending their children, protecting children. Nothing like motherhood. I'm a man. But I've seen what it looked like for my own wife taking care of children. It happened that I lost my mother when I was 4 years old. But I know that you don't appreciate, especially male, you don't appreciate how motherhood look like until you have a child of your own. Then you see what your wife goes through. Therefore, imagine a woman give birth to a child, and she worried whether the child going to live or not. There's many mothers in Gaza, many mothers in the Rohingyas, many mothers of the Uyghurs, many mothers in Kashmir. They go through a lot of pain losing their children. A lot of pain. For the mother of Musa alayhi salam, she was worried about her child. What would happen if Pharaoh would knock at my door? For him and his soldiers, seeking this child of mine. And very interesting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَىٰ أَنِ ارْضَعِيهِ. There's something here very interesting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah inspired, gave wahi, inspired the mother of Musa alayhi salam. And the word wahi in the Quran, it means the private conversation, private conversation. That wahi, private conversation, could be between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet, between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and mother of Musa, or a private conversation between shayateen and jinn. shayateen al-insi wal-jinn yuhi ba'duhum ila ba'din zukhruf al-qawli ghurura. Shayateen whisper, that called wahi. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أوحينا وأوحينا إلى أم موسى. That means it was not an idea came. Allah put it in her heart and her minds, and she knew from Allah. Right? What He revealed to her, what inspired her with, first, an arda'i, a command. Breastfeed the child. Breastfeed him. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted him to identify with his mother. Because later, you're going to see why. For you want to create a bond between the mother and the child. الرضعي. فإذا خفت عليه, if you're worried about him being taken by Pharaoh, فألقيه في اليم. If you're worried about your child, put him into the water. Anyone of your mothers here, would you do that? If Allah did not tell you that, you're worried about your child, you take your child and put him in the river, a baby, an infant, would you do that? You will not do that. هذا موت محقق. هذا ظني. Maybe he will knock the door, he may not knock the door. But taking the child and putting it in the water, it has to be Allah Ta'ala to do that. فإن خفت عليه فألقيه في اليم. يا ربي, you want me to this child, فلدته كبدي, part of my liver, part of me, to put him in the water? How can I do that? What Allah said to her, فألقيه في اليم ولا تخافي. Don't scare, don't have no fear. I'm ordering you to do something, don't worry about him. ولا تحزني, don't be sad. Do not have hope, fear, and sadness. طيب يا Allah, you order me not to have two more emotions, خوف and hazan. لا تحزني. Why? إنا رادوه إليك. Listen to this carefully. Some people said, just trust me, trust me. Listen, brother, I will trust you. Tell me what your plan is. Are you going to come or not going to come? You know, you hire somebody to fix something in your home. He said, just trust me. I said, just tell me what it is, what you're going to do. Allah Almighty revealed to her, لا تخافي ولا تحزني. That could have been full stop. Am I correct? Allah saying so. But Allah made an explanation. Why you should not have fear, no sadness? Inna radduhu ilayk. I'll bring him back to you. See, Allah come for the mother. There's many mothers, they want their child to come back to them. Inna radduhu ilayk. طيب, I'm going to bring him back to you. وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. He gave her 2 orders in one ayah. أوحينا إلى موسى. First, breastfeed him. The second, put him into the water. That's 2 orders. Okay? Then, 2 other orders of nafi. يعني قل أمران ونهيان. And don't. 2 do, and 2 don'ts. Breastfeed him, put him in the water, and do not have fear, no sadness. And 2 glad tidings. Bisharatan. I will bring him back to you, or make him a prophet. What's she dealing with? An infant. An infant. This infant will have great future. That's why every child has potential. Not becoming a prophet though. No messenger. But they have a potential to be somebody, you know? Like when somebody, one of the African Americans was running for presidential office. Remember, he said, "I'm somebody." There'll be somebody one day. He says, وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. طيب, how this path? You know, there's a connection between the story of Musa alayhi salam and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In some level. Not in childhood. In childhood, Rasul was celebrated. But the fact that he was born an orphan and his mother was to take care of him. He says, فَالْتَقَطَهُ آلُ فِرْعَوْنَ. فَالْتَقَطَهُ آلُ. Fir'aun then took the child. So he became their enemy and the source of their sadness. Allah says, إِنَّ فِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَجُنُودَهُمَا كَانُوا خَاطِئِينَ. Allah says, Fir'aun and Haman, which is his military guy, and their soldiers were wrong. Because the soldiers were told to do something wrong, and they obeyed. They were asked to take care of, take the life of children, and they did. They should have objected that, have conscious objection, said, we're not going to do that. Allah include them. He said, in Fir'aun, وَجُنُودَهُمَا كَانُوا خَاطِئِينَ. Now, who saved Musa alayhi salam? He ended up in the house of Pharaoh. Who advocated for to have him not to be harmed? The first lady, the wife of Al-Aziz, the wife of Fir'aun, sorry. وقالت امرأة فرعون, the wife of Pharaoh, the first lady of Egypt, قرة عين لي ولك لا تقتلوه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وهم لا يشعرون. He said, for the comfort of my eye, for me and you, do not take his life. عسى أن ينفعنا, perhaps it might be of benefit to us. أو نتخذه ولدا, maybe I adopt him like my own child. طيب, Can you imagine this? What the mother was worried about? Why? Worried about who were going to knock her door. Pharaoh soldiers. Allah said, I'm going to deliver him to Pharaoh. Don't worry about it. They're not going to come to your door, but Musa alayhi salam are going to end up at their door. And Allah took Musa to them, Musa alayhi salam. Instead of coming to Musa, he took it to them. And then there's a woman with a heart. And I want you to listen to this carefully. In every oppressed society, an oppressor's machine, you may have people of conscience who say, I don't think this is the right thing. I cannot do this anymore. This is not correct. There's a goodness in every human being. Even the worst of the worst could turn to be good. Asya said, no, don't do this to him, to the child. She acted as the mother. And that's how Musa alayhi salam was saved. This is the wife of Pharaoh, the tyrant. His own wife has a heart. She said, don't do this to him. Right. The mother, Musa alayhi salam mother, what happened to her? Her child is no longer with her. She put him into the water. How she can make sure this child will be safe? Whom she gave the mission to? The sister. The sister. And by the way, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, they asked Asma, the daughter of Abu Bakr, to bring them food when they were in the cave of Thawr. Women have done very dangerous missions. This is the ayat, is a Meccan Quran. And in Meccan Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlight the women roles. Because the Arabs used to look down to women before Islam. Now, وقالت لأخته قصي. She said to his sister, follow your brother. See what he can end up with. The sister followed her brother in the boy. Can you imagine the fear she has? She cannot text her mother. She cannot make a phone call. She followed her brother to the... And she became like observer. See what's going to happen to her brother. Now she become part of the conversation. They want to have the Musa alayhi salam screaming. Every woman wants to breastfeed him, he rejected her. Why? He smelled his mother. That's why Allah said to her, Arda'i, breastfeed him. Musa alayhi salam, he knows how his mother smells. He rejected those women. And the sister says, maybe I can suggest somebody, maybe it will work out. That person is her mother. She comes into the palace and says, go on, bring her. Just need this baby to stop crying. She brought her mother. Her mother walked into what? To the palace of Pharaoh. Can you imagine with the trauma that you have about the person who done so much wrong to your society, to the community, to other children? He has your child, and she see her son in their hand. What happened to Musa? Musa has, in Musa alayhi salam and alayha salam, she has emptiness, void in her fu'ad, not her qalb. Fu'ad. Fu'ad is a place of conscience. encompasses the brain, the heart, and everything. And she about to say, my baby. What about the scream? وأصبح فؤاد أم موسى فارغا إن كادت لتبدي به. She wants to say, my baby. لولا أن ربطنا على قلبها. Allah said, I brought sakina to her heart. Strengthen her heart. Don't show that he's your son. Can you imagine the difficulty that mother has? لتكون من المؤمنين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watch all the events that take place in this world. Allah sees the hardship, the difficulty of every mother who crying in her own home regarding a child who's sick or a child being wronged, like in what's happening now. Allah sees those hearts of mothers. He hears their dua. Mother of Musa, she sees her child, but she remembers what Allah said to her. I'll bring him back to you. Allah said, فَرَدَدْنَاهُ إِلَىٰ أُمِّهِ. Allah before that said, وَحَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِ الْمَرَاضِعِ. Who prohibited woman can breastfeed him except his mother. فَرَدَدْنَاهُ إِلَىٰ أُمِّهِ. Brought him back to his mother. Why? كَيْ تَقَرَّ عَيْنُهَا وَلَا تَحْزَنْ. Allah. So that her comfort, the comfort of her eyes, the coolness of her eyes, for serenity, and no longer she will have sadness, means separation. You know, you heard of separation anxiety? Her anxiety to the roof. Allah said, I comfort her. I brought her back to her son. وَلِتَعْلَمَ. So she will know أَنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. Allah promised her earlier that I'm going to bring him back to you. Now she come to know that the promise of Allah is true. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Many people don't know that the promise of Allah is true. For she saw that promise of Allah back. They said this mother of Musa alayhi salam, when this Fuad Farid, she does not think about anything except her son. There's void that in her heart that nothing can fill except her son come back to her. Subhanallah. Now, can you imagine you get paid, take care of your son, live in a palace, the best food, and so forth. But that's not the same if doesn't, but still has fear that they may discover this. That does not come free of anxiety. The mother in the house of Pharaoh, but she's worried about what? They'll be discovered. Of course, she rather to have her son in her home secured with little food than to be in the palace of Pharaoh and she pretending to be, doesn't know him. But that's the best scenario for those circumstances. Otherwise, we'll lose her son. Now, for Musa alayhi salam grew up where? Where did he grow up? In the palace of Pharaoh. Because Fir'aun later he said to him, أَلَوْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِيدًا لَبِثْتَ فِينَا مِنْ عُمْرِكَ سِنِينَ. Didn't we raise you as a child and you grew up with us? And Musa alayhi salam going to respond to him later says, You cannot say that you have done a favor to me. You have oppressed my people. The reason that I end up in a palace, because of your policy. Your policy against my people. I'm not going to accept that favor from you. You didn't do any favor to me. For he grew up in the household of Pharaoh. طيب. Musa alayhi salam see oppressions every day. He sees that children of Israel, Bani Israel, his people being oppressed every day by the Pharaoh and his people. Now, trauma is real. Trauma is real. Have you met people come from any war zone? Have you met some people like that? Have you talked to the Rohingya or brother and sister from Syria or somebody just come from Gaza? Have you talked to those people? There's some people live trauma every day because there is no post-trauma. Because trauma continues. For years in their life, there's no post of it. But Musa alayhi salam sees these oppressions. See the discriminations. See systemic oppressions of his people. For when he grew up and became a young man, Allah said, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى. When he became a young man and now have a strength, آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him ability to think, to make judgment. And that is similar to whom? To Yusuf alayhi salam. Allah said when he was come the age of maturity, we gave him hukm and ilm. And here let me just say one thing. Knowledge without wisdom is not a good thing. Knowledge without wisdom is a disaster. Because the elite, somebody grad from the best universities and doesn't have hikmah, he can create a chaos, he can create war, he can design a system of racism, can drop a nuclear weapon on innocent people and kill them. But he has a best degree. Information is not enough. Wisdom. No matter which university you grad from, ilm without hikmah is void. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah sallallahu يعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. He teaches them the book and wisdom, application of the book. والحكمة وضع شيء في موضعه. You put things in the right place. You speak in the right time. You act in the right time. You understanding the best things about hikmah. The most important aspect of hikmah, of wisdom, is understanding consequences. فهم العواقب. You understand what that may lead to. And therefore you do not make a decision that the consequences of it is clear, is not good. فالله gave him حكم وعلم. طيب. وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. That's how we reward those who are God conscious. But Musa alayhi salam entered a city at the time where people taking a nap. Allah says, وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. He entered a city where there's not many people in the street. Then he found two men fighting, physically fighting. And one of the people in this fight is from Bani Israel, and the other guy from Pharaoh people, belong to Pharaoh. Group, or maybe it could be associated with Pharaoh. And therefore, when the person saw Musa alayhi salam from Bani Israel, what did he do? Come, help me, help me, help me. فاستغاثه الذي من شيعته على الذي من عدوه. He asked for help. Musa alayhi salam did not ask who's right or wrong. He didn't ask what's happening. Immediately went to his mind what? The guy from the minority oppressing this girl from majority, oppressing this girl from minority. Like if you drive your car and you see a person from minority, dominant minority in America, hitting somebody from a minority, what comes to your mind? Immediately, this person been wronged. Because why? Why that happened? Trauma. Trauma. If you are under oppressions for so long, your assumption always, these people who are oppressing those people systematically, if I see any one of them hitting somebody from minority, I'm not going to ask, because the assumption is this person uses his privilege as a majority oppressing somebody from minority. Is that true or not? That's what comes to your mind. For Musa alayhi salam, made the intervention. That before he became a prophet. He's acting now as Musa the activist. Musa alayhi salam. You know what I'm saying? Immediately jumped into the fight. What did he do? Musa alayhi salam was strong built. He kicked the guy. You're talking about Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson. When people said Mike Tyson want to hit you, like a truck hit you. This Musa alayhi salam have a strength more than Mike Tyson. He hit him once, not twice. Once, the guy is gone. Not knocked down. The guy is really gone. He's not passed out. He passed away. فَوَكَّزَ مُوسَى فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ. Boom, the guy is gone. Musa alayhi salam was not expect this to happen. He thought that he's just going to push this guy away. The guy, and Musa alayhi salam immediately realized there's something very serious here. قال موسى قال رب إني ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي. Oh Allah, I've done something wrong, forgive me. Unintentionally. This guy gone. فغفر له. Allah forgive him. إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Right. There's something very important here. How a person used their strength. Musa alayhi salam realized that he made a mistake. And he asked Allah for forgiveness. Allah forgave him. Now, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says something very important for all of us, and everything he says is important. He says, ليس الشديد بالسرعة. He said the strong person is not. I know you're chasing each other. Can you sit down, guys? Guys, can you sit down, please? Sit down. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. You are such wonderful children. Please. Rasul said, ليس الشديد بالسرعة. He said the strong person is not a person who can wrestle people and win a wrestle match. ولكن الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. said the strong person of strength is a person who controls themselves when they're angry. So Musa alayhi salam realized that he did not mean to hurt this guy that bad. And he says that, oh Allah, forgive me. I made a mistake. Musa alayhi salam that later learned that he need to control his anger. You know what he said to Allah? Musa said the following. قال ربي بما أنعمت علي فلن أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين. He said, oh Allah, with all the strength you give me, oh Allah, don't let me help those who are wrongdoers. People commit injustice. Don't let me be helpful to them. Musa alayhi salam realizes the matter is very serious. First, Pharaoh and his soldiers are going to look for him now. Because in many places, blood is not equal. A black guy dies is not equal sometimes to a white guy. You know what I'm saying? We have created a system by which we don't value the same human life. I'm against any civilian to be killed. But can you explain to me why the civilians of Gaza did not move the world? Why the ratios that maybe thousands of people have to die and somebody can care about them? Why is that? Why is that? Well, in this story here, Musa alayhi salam was worried about what happened because he has experience with the same guy from his people fighting another guy. فأصبح في المدينة خائفا يترقب. Musa alayhi salam became worried in the city and looking over his shoulder. He's looking over his shoulder. فإذا الذي استنصره بالأمس. And the person who asked for help yesterday, يستصرخه again. Come and help me. The guy is troublemaker. He started another fight. And Musa alayhi salam about to come to the help. ولما أن أراد أن يبطش بالذي هو عدو لهما قال يا موسى. Oh Musa, you want to take my life as you took the life of somebody yesterday? Now people knew who did what. إن تريد إلا أن تكون جبارا في الأرض وما تريد أن تكون من المصلحين. He said, now you become like a tyrant, taking people's life. Musa alayhi salam come to know that Fir'aun is going to go after him. A man came to Musa alayhi salam. وجاء رجل من أقصى المدينة يسعى. A man from the furthest part of the city came to Musa alayhi salam. قال يا موسى إن الملأ يأتمرون بك ليقتلوك فاخرج إني لك من الناصحين. He said they are plotting to kill you. I'm giving you advice, leave Egypt. فخرج منها خائفا يترقب. One of the things being repeated in the story of Musa, one strong emotions, you know what it is? What the strong emotion of the trauma, people live in trauma? What the strong emotion they have? Huh? Fear. You know how many times Allah mentioned fear in Surah of Musa? The first time you heard this fear in Surah of Musa, when? Just now, an hour ago, or 50 minutes ago. When the first time you heard fear? The mother. She's scared. Live under fear. This story has so many fear of Musa alayhi salam because he lived in society of oppressions and has trauma. This is not to belittle Musa alayhi salam. It's true. That has so much fear. Even when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to know, when I ask him, when the stick became a snake, what Musa alayhi salam run from it. When Musa alayhi salam saw all of them turn their ropes and the stick to snakes, he got scared. Khaf, la takhaf, khaf, la takhaf. Fear. But Musa alayhi salam أصبح, he become خرج منها خائفا يترقب. You know, فأصبح في المدينة خائفا يترقب فخرج منها خائفا يترقب. He every day in the city was worried, had fear, and he left with fear, looking over his shoulder again. قال رب نجني من القوم الظالمين. Oh Allah, save me from those people, from the oppressors, wrongdoers. ولما توجه تلقاء مدين قال عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. Musa alayhi salam left Egypt, going to where? Where he's going? Midian. He's going to Midian. But when he going toward Midian, he said, may Allah guide me. He doesn't have an address. He doesn't have a hotel. He doesn't have airline tickets. He's just walking toward Midian. No idea what they're going to end up. You don't know what kind of a job he might have, what he's going to do. But he asked Allah to guide him in this path. And this to be continued. Talk next week. In the shift, this is childhood. What happened to Musa alayhi salam after that? What did he find in Midian? My brothers and sisters, if Allah move you from one place to another place, they will give you more opening. One of the time, a brother come to me and says, I've been laid off for my job. Yeah, Imam, I've been laid off my job. I don't know how we're going to have risk. I said, brother, don't doubt the risk of Allah. Qul, say, Allahumma alayka tawakkalt. To you I put your trust in. To you I put my trust in. And anta khairul raziqin. وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever rely on Allah, Allah is enough for them, sufficient for them. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Whoever have the conscience of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them rizq in the way that they have not thought of. Ever. It didn't come to their mind. And I told the brother, says, Allahumma khlifni fi musibati hadi khayra. Allah replace what I lost with something better. Wabdilni khayran minha. Alhamdulillah, Allah gave him a job better than the job he had. You have to believe in Allah. For he left Egypt and went to Midian. And there was the opening happening. Any questions? This to be continued next week, inshallah, to finish the story of Musa alayhi salam. Before we talk about Isa. What that? Age of Musa alayhi salam? We don't know exactly, but you assume that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, بَلَقَ أَشُدَّهُ, that means in the age of puberty, could be in his 19, 20. Because if every prophet, most of the prophets become prophet in the age of 40. If you say he left in the age of 30, 10 years in Midian, then he become a prophet after that. Other questions? He said, he asked me why Yusuf alayhi salam did not bring his mother and father immediately. Because he had to reconcile with his brothers. You have to fix the family relationship, family dynamic. Because the family reunion to take place after you have remedy. You know? And therefore the brothers come seeking help, and he used them to reunite the family by he forgiving them first. That's why family reunion, have you thought about family reunion where everyone doesn't like another person? Can a family call for a family reunion where people are not talking to each other? There's no family reunion, huh? You have to have remedy, reconcile, and then have a family reunion. That's what Yusuf alayhi salam did. Let's buy another story. Yusuf alayhi salam's story has so much wisdom. In the story of Musa alayhi salam, also have to see family dynamic of Musa alayhi salam himself, of the father-in-law want to keep his son-in-law with him for 10 years. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه انه هو الغفور الرحيم. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله.